And it's very obvious for him to tell this. Why? Because he wants to promote his appliance. So that's why he wants to totally rule out the fact that penetration testing is no more. Okay. Well, no sooner did he comment this, and all the pen testers across the world got annoyed. They said, yeah, what is this? What are you saying? After this is our bread and butter, how can you comment something like this? So immediately, if you just Google search, you will find, you just Google search for something called as top 10 reasons why penetration testing is not dead. You will be landed up on one of the websites. Okay, it's basically will do at your home. And that there was a guy who came up saying that no, penetration testing is not dead. Here are the top 10 reasons. So there will be a huge debate on the internet that what is better, a source code analysis is better or a penetration testing is better. Can you tell me what is your thought process and what do you think is better or what overrides you want?
Both indispensable.
Both are indispensable. Okay, one word is both are indispensable. Anyone on any one side or biased answers? Anyone thinks source code analysis is better than penetration testing?
So, it depends from organization to organization. You can't really compare them.
Yeah.
But they're both necessary.
They both are necessary. That depends from organization to organization. It's not that we, okay,
right.
It's source based analysis that is important.
What you should say?
You need both because you can't have an infinitely secure coder and you can never have an infinitely secure system.
Correct.
Maybe the approach might differ, based on the security score scanning.
Okay. Everyone of you are saying the same thing. Everyone of you are on the same language. Why? Because you understand the nitty-gritty of pen testing and source code analysis. Okay. There is something which the source code analysis cannot find it, but there is something which the penetration testing can find out, and vice versa. Okay. Say for example, your web application is very secure, no escalation, no process scripting, and as much as secure as possible, not 100%, there is no concept of 100% security. But you try to secure it at the web application layer amazingly. But there is a problem in IIS. Okay, so who can address this problem? Source code auditing or penetration testing?
Source code auditing.
Penetration testing can find out. It's a piece of code, but we are not. See, we don't have source code of IIS, right? We are talking about the web application. Exactly. That is what I want to say. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that there are certain things that source code auditing can find that you can't find in penetration testing.
Right.
So are you also implying then by logical implication that there are specific things you find in penetration testing that cannot be mapped back to some type of problem with some type of code?
In source code?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what he in fact rightly suggested. In fact, that's one of the things which even I believe is that penetration testing is looking at an infrastructure as a whole. Okay, though your web application is secured, but something which is around it might not be secured, which can lead to a compromise of the environment.
Does it mean that the domain for source code auditing project that you perform is not rich enough to include those elements that should have ideally been included?
Unfortunately, you cannot, because there are certain limitations. Say, for example, you have a web application which you are going to install it on IIS. Now you have to rely on the source code which has been given by Microsoft to you for IIS. Tomorrow, even if you question Microsoft is not going to integrate. Microsoft will say, don't use it if you don't like it. We are least one.
Doesn't make bad business sense, but yeah.
Can't do, but is Microsoft will give you the IIS source code.
But ultimately it still boils down to some problem with the IIS source code, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Who can identify this?
Microsoft programmers, if they were listening.
That's what. So that's what. Don't use the IIS means use the right. So there are even more questions. Yes.
I think it's going to be now a debate.
There is a possibility that you will fix that, but because there is a loophole, then how it is going to be fixed.
Right.
That's the other point that you need to see what is the pattern of the
Right. So that's what we are saying, that penetration testing is looking at the infrastructure as a whole. Say for example, you are having an n-tier architecture, okay, wherein your front end is a web server, back end is a web application, again that the back end is a database. Okay. So penetration testing is looking at the whole. How it is being deployed, what the web server configuration is, if there is a firewall, how the firewall is blocking certain ports. This is the add-on. Okay, how the firewall is behaving. Is there a default username password for the firewall and monitor? Okay, all these things the penetration testing will take care. Okay, tomorrow there is a problem in the firewall. Can and source code analysis to find it out? So that's why there have been a lot of debates going on the internet saying that source code analysis is better than someone like us says no, each has its own domain, so that's still an open question. Okay? So you can even contribute it.
Yeah, one point I'd like to mention.
Yes.
From a business point of view, we had many customers whom we are doing source code review.
Right.
They specifically wanted us to do PT
Hmm.
because they said may or may not be our application source
Correct.
vulnerable or not. I want to know what a hacker can do
Right.
from PT node.
Right.
So practically, business point of view, people want PT to perform.
Right. As he was also saying that this may not be the right approach, that doing just penetration testing or doing just source code analysis might not help you at times. Both can add certain more value. Something which a pen tester cannot find out, but there was on the source code level is of course very better. And generally people prefer to do black box testing. So there is no guarantee that all the modules will be tested and will be looked at and will be tested, found out for vulnerabilities. If the pen tester is not experienced, he might miss out certain aspects of the application. And even for, unfortunately, there will be a problem with that module, which will not happen in case of a source code writing, because source code you have. Okay. But again, there are possible doing things in different ways. Source code analysis will take up much more time because there will be 10,000 codes running. Here it's not that case. So ideally, to put it in a very plain text language, you can say, I generally say that something like this. Like suppose you get a car, a new car. You want to test how amazing it is from accident perspective, how well it can protect. So there are two ways. Okay, one way says that you open up the data sheet of what the car is saying and you just go and manually check whether everything is correct or not. And the second thing is you actually go and dash it. Okay, so the dashing part is basically the penetration testing, and looking over the data sheet is basically the source code analysis. Okay? So that's something which is there. So this was something which was going on much in the market.
Right, the current.
Well, now generally what happens in a traditional penetration testing? Okay, the pre-sales approach. The pre-sales approach is the client calls us. Okay, he says, please provide me a code for a black box penetration testing. Unfortunately, I hate this question. This is not, penetration testing is not like a brinjal or a cabbage that you say, itnega, itnega. Okay, the idea is that you go and say that how much domains you have, how many IP addresses is there, how many database pages are there. Then you do an effort calculation that for a pen tester, for a single pen tester, how many mandates will be there. Only then can you come up with the code. But okay, we can't expect the client to be always at our side of the fence to understand this. Okay, they say that please provide a code for the black box penetration testing. So the salesperson says please provide the list of IP addresses and the application IDs to be tested. So that's what is the traditional approach. Okay, now let's look at how risk-based penetration testing is there. Okay, in risk-based penetration testing, how it is evolved. Okay, the client says please provide me a code for the black box penetration testing. The salesperson says wait, hang on. Let me know something new. Okay, what is that something new? Okay. So we'll address this question, we'll leave that question right now, and let's understand first what is traditional penetration testing and what is risk-based penetration testing. Okay, let's look at the differences. And then we'll see certain examples where you come to know that traditional penetration testing wouldn't have helped you a lot in those cases. Okay, so let's look at that. The first point says that focuses on technical vulnerabilities, however, risk-based focuses on business risks. Okay, so just to give you a background, that whenever a traditional penetration testing happens, you just find out how many IP addresses and URLs are there, and you just finish that sales questionnaire or DCP, what you call it. But in evolved, what do you say is that you also try to understand the business, what the client is in. Okay. Definitely a vulnerability for a BPO company would be drastically different than for a bank. Do you agree with this? They might be having certain different set of vulnerabilities, for which the impact could be higher for a bank. That will not be the case with the BPO. Right? So this is just one of the examples. So, focus is on technical vulnerabilities. You look for cross-site scripting, SQL injection, command injection, all the OS software, what you know, you can try out all that. Okay? However, in risk-based penetration testing, the focus is on the business risk. That suppose I do SQL injection, then what could be the problem what they can face, or how bad the impact will be. Based on that, we come up with the severity. Okay. Second differentiation is basically requires to know strong technical know-how. That is more than enough for you to do a traditional penetration testing. However, for risk-based penetration testing, not only you should have a technical know-how, but also you should understand the business processes. Okay, we'll soon look at some of the examples where we'll get to know that why we are saying something like this. Traditional penetration testing has having right set of tools is critical. In the sense, say for example, you are doing a web vulnerability analysis. So maybe you will look for tools like Accreditix or Watchfire, AppScan, or which is not taken by me, or even Vinto or Vinto, whatever you want. Okay, so these tools might help you. Okay, however, for doing a risk-based penetration testing, understanding the workings of the business and the application is very critical. You should know how the application is working. You should find out logical flaws in that. Okay, like for example, suppose the bank is coming up with which this is one of the other examples we will be discussing, is that bank is having something called as maker, checker and verify. Okay, this is a concept that the person who makes or initiates a transaction cannot verify it. The person who is verifying it cannot authorize it. Right? And the authorizer neither can verify nor can make it. So we'll have a look at it later. So this logic, how they have applied, okay, unfortunately in the realistic situation what happens is that the visualizer, the person who makes the concept is unfortunately not the developer. Okay, he comes up with a concept, he makes beautiful flowchart, this, that and all, makes beautiful presentation to the developers, and it's the developer's duty to actually materialize what has been visualized by the visionary. Right? So we are converting a concept to a technology using, say for example, ASP.NET or PHP or Java or whatever you are using. Right? Now, lot of factors are involved in this. First of all, how easy it is to convert that concept to a technology. Is there any readily available technology that can easily deploy that without any performance issue or security issue? That is first hazel you can say, or first hurdle you can say. Second hurdle is the level of the developer itself. Okay, if the developer is 1 year old in development, he might not be as matured as a 10 years guy who is going to the same business. He might say, hey, this is the correct way of doing it. Let's use this. Let's use that call. Let's use this function in ASP.NET. This is something new. So he might come up with a better solution. But unfortunately, not all 10 years development people who have worked for 10 years in development will work on such projects. Right? That's another hurdle. Third hurdle is finding right set of guys who can do this job actually. Okay? And the fourth problem is understanding capability of the developer itself. That how much you said and how much he grasped. Okay, so all these are certain small things which not leads to making the concept to a actual materialization. Okay, so that's where you actually bring the risk-based penetration testing to. That is risk-based penetration testing approach. You try to identify that the concept is clear. The verifier cannot do this, maker cannot do this, checker cannot do this, that, and all. It's okay. But have you actually done it at the source code level? That is something that the business logic that he has applied, the model he is calling, how it is calling, this, that, and all, is something which risk-based penetration testing can help. Also, in traditional penetration testing, you should usually have a zero knowledge. Zero knowledge means what? Black box testing, where you only know the domain. However, here, zero knowledge is not going to help you. You need to sit with the developers, understand what the whole application is doing, how it is being coded, not at the source code level of course, but at the flowchart level. Then what does the theory say? What does the concept say of this application? And then you will test that whether there is gaps between this concept and the materialization. Okay? Understanding the regulatory environment is good. Means it's not a compulsory thing in a traditional based penetration test. However, it is a mandate in a risk based penetration testing. Say for example, tomorrow you are doing a penetration testing for a medical field, medical website. Okay, can anyone tell me what is the compliance for medical? HIPAA, right? So, if as you know, according to HIPAA compliance, they say that if the personal details of the patients are disclosed, there is a fine. Okay. This HIPAA is there, but however, this may not be the case for some other organization. Like for example, a BPO. There, even if the personal data might go out, there is no compliance which is telling that there is a fine for this. Right? So, if you know this gamut of